Well, maybe the best news of Chiefs camp so far is that the rookies are catching on in the secondary, just like the Chiefs need them to. Welcome back. This is a special bonus live episode on the buzz that's floating around in Chiefs camp. There's a lot of it. No intro today. This is a quick one. Gonna get you guys what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing in Chiefs camp. Make sure you like, sub, and hit this bell right here so you become part of Rogue Nation here on the RGR Football channel. For me and my staff, we got this team covered constantly 24/7, 365. Hope you're here. Now, it's one thing to say that, hey, we got some rookies we're excited about. It's another thing for them to lock down not one, but two of the top three corner positions on a Super Bowl contending team. That's ridiculous, and that's honestly a little bit stressful if you're the front office or the coaching staff and you're trying to get through that season. Now, Trent McDuffie has been a standout in terms of being the guy that's always in position, being what they thought he was. Talk to him a little bit today, and the big thing is that he's trying to change his game. A kid that played 82% of his snaps in zone, off man, well off in college, is now adapting to the SPAG system, and he's starting to get there. He's been very consistent. He's been very productive in camp. But now it's starting to really click. He had multiple PBUs here in passing camp on Saturday, and that's the difference. A lot of critics had all this garbage about the short arms being something that's going to change his career for the negative. It's not. It may be something that from time to time will pop up. That's certainly, I have to acknowledge that. I even put that in my value of him as a rookie prospect as well. But learning and actually mentally focusing on playing to the ball at its catch point is a shift from what he was asked to do in college and will produce a shift in his production on the field. But now he's getting there. And they've been very happy with his placement, his ability to shadow, his ability to stay in phase with receivers. But now if he is going to play through that contact point and be able to affect passes in a negative way, knocking them down, eventually taking them away and getting those interceptions that change the tide of ball games, Trent McDuffie is everything he's been built up to be to this point, and I think he has even higher potential. That's all well, good, and expected, fortunately, that he should be doing that, because that's what happens when you're a first-round pick and they trade up to go there. What's up, Mike in Sweden? Glad you're doing well. I don't know what time it is in Sweden, but I'm guessing it's not midnight yet, so hope you're doing well, buddy. The big thing is that that's what they need from Trent, because that's what he's expected. That's what he's brought here to do. The bigger thing that has been interesting over the last few days at training camp is the fact that L'Jarius Sneed has the nickel locked down, and he's got new guys playing next to him that are also rookies. Rashad Fenton remains out. He did not practice Saturday. He has not been seen, as I understand, on the practice field yet at camp. That is starting to become a concern for me, because I think when you look in the hierarchy of this secondary, he is definitely somebody that was in their plans prior to this last need for a surgical correction to get him onto the field. It's going to be okay, but it may be delayed. And so that really is putting the pressure on two of the rookies in particular. One, another fourth-round pick in Josh Williams, who was out there with the ones today. Today, it was Trent McDuffie on one side, L'Jarius in the nickel, and it was Josh Williams starting on the opposite side. A kid who's been there quite a bit in camp with the absence of Rashad Fenton. But the last 2 days, Wednesday, I believe, and Thursday, they gave Jalen Watson, the seventh-round rookie, an option to play with the ones. And as I understand, it was a little bit more up and down, a little less consistent than Joshua Williams has been, but also some upside there. So they're trying to expose them to the upside, to what's going to be the challenge for them. But there is a lot of upside in just getting the fact that they're getting those reps. They're making that jump. Now, this is all practicing against your teammates. And yes, while the offense and the defense are going to go at it a little bit, it's not the same as playing another team. So the real question is going to be, who gets the snaps with the ones against the ones in the first preseason game? That's going to tell us a lot. Unfortunately, I'm not going to make it to camp at this point. If I haven't told you guys that yet, it is a recent revelation. It's just not going to happen for me because of the timing. But usually it's that 3 days after the first preseason game. That's when I always go to camp. This year I won't be able to make it. But the reason that I do that is because the first preseason game is where the rookies get a first look at what NFL competition really is. And then it's about how they adapt. And who adapts quicker will give you the idea of who's coming down the line, or who you might see come week one and the rest of the regular season. Sean, welcome. Glad you're here. And I intend to, my friend. Thank you for being somebody that helps me do it by being somebody who watches, folks. If you don't know me yet, I'm Ryan Tracy. Like this video, sub to the channel, and hit that bell so you get more. Me and my staff, we have a ton going on, all covering this team in 360 and a lot of the NFL outside as well. Also want to plug, got to get you guys on to NFL33.com because that's our Substack for the whole league, where we actually explain other things going on that will affect the Chiefs but aren't necessarily about the Chiefs. A lot there. So the big takeaway is that unless something changes and Rashad Fenton is back, it's very likely that the preseason is going to see a lot of either Joshua Williams or Jalen Watson or both running with the ones in the secondary so that they can get the exposure to the other teams, get that taste of NFL competition, because it goes up a notch in the regular season and it goes up 3 more notches in the playoff runs. So there's a lot for them to get exposed to and kind of adjusted to. The big question in the secondary is, are they just kind of rolling slow on Lonnie Johnson? Because as I understand it, from the reps that he's getting with the 2s and the 3s, he's dominating those reps. I expected him to be the guy that was getting a shot right now with the 1s, with Rashad Fenton out. That's not been the case. No one seems to have an explanation why. Neither the team nor any of the beat reporters or anyone who has any ties inside the organization has anything to say about it yet. So I don't know that that's a done deal. But I think this is about getting what you can get to the rookies now so that they can grow and expand. And then maybe you feel like you have 5 deep at that point. With McDuffie and Snead, clearly you're 1 and 2. And really that should be reversed. Snead and McDuffie, you're 1 and 2. And then Fenton when he gets back, Lonnie, and now both the young rookies, that's 6 players. Najee Johnson's getting some run with the 2, so he would be the next step down. Gabriel Boodle is still out here. DeAndre Baker is still out here. They're very deep now. The question is, can they get to the point where they have 3 starter quality players on the field week 1, and particularly week 2 against the Chargers? That's the question. A lot going on there. I know you guys have a couple questions. I'll dive into those real briefly, but also need to let you know that Juan Thornhill is backing his mouth up, and I like it. Juan said a couple weeks ago that he feels he has an all-pro season in his future and that he intends to get there. He did not back off of that at all today. Juan says he's good. He's still pursuing that goal and he's not taking it back. I really like to see that because, unfortunately, because of the injury, Juan has not progressed to the spot that I thought he would be by now, that I had predicted. I had him, Adderley, and Savage as the top 3 in their class, and it was very, very close on all of them. But Juan was my favorite from his film because he had that knack, and I think he will get back to taking the ball away and making those big PBUs that we need him to make in order to see him make that progression. Does he have an all-pro season in him? Possibly. I think he does have the ability to get there. He's not there yet. It's very early on that road, but the fact that he's still focused on it and that he took that flack and said, nope, I'm not backing off of it, that is a really good sign, not only for him, but for this team, especially when you realize that Justin Reed is the guy that is leading this defense as really the replacement sort of. Nobody can be Tyrann Mathieu, but he is what he should be. Now, that all bodes well that at the back, and that supports these rookie corners that are playing so much. And then the third safety is Brian Cook. It is clear. It is not a question. Whenever Juan or Reed comes off the field, it is Brian Cook that is taking those safety snaps. So he is the 3, like we thought after the draft and through these OTAs. I'm very excited about that because he brings a different type of playmaking ability, and I'm very excited about him. Let's see. I know you guys have a couple questions. We're going to get there. I just want to finish this out that the process of getting Carlos Dunlap up to speed is progressing. He's not taking a ton of reps yet, but he's building that up, and that's going to have a big effect. We should see here in a couple of days him actually in there and taking good reps. Now, Orlando Brown, on the other hand, has been taking more reps, and he should be clear. This was a padded practice. I haven't seen a lot of one-on-ones yet. Tomorrow should be more, and Orlando Brown should be full speed at that point. It is coming. What he looked like today, and from, again, multiple sources that I have that were there, including some of the guys that are covering camp, is that Orlando's quickness is real, and the weight that he dropped is significant in what it's done to allow him to move his feet. The one thing that we talked about all offseason that he had to improve on in order to make that leap from a top 20-ish tackle to a top 5 tackle. I think he can do that. And it is about the foot quickness against the speed rush. And it is about getting his pad level down. That also comes down with the reduced weight. So this should be a very good season. And looks like the changes that Orlando has done in his training regime have paid off and will pay off this season as long as he stays healthy. I'm very excited about that. That changes the abilities of the offense as much as changing the wide receiver core, because it allows Patrick to be Patrick and not have to make things up as he goes along. Just ask Del Rio. They don't like it when he makes stuff up, but hey, if he doesn't have to, it'll be that much cleaner. So those are my big takeaways. I know there were a couple of questions. I'll answer them real quick because I haven't been able to dig into bigger topics right now. Jeremy, I do think those two guys will do that and lead the team. Quinn, what do you think of all the ways they are using Sky Moore? I think it's an experimentation right now to see what they can do, how he can fit in. I know a lot of people are comparing him to Tyreek and Debo. I'm not ready to say that because this is not proven to be how they'll use him. It's proven that they're trying to figure out what he can do and how the possibilities line up that they could use him. Calling him Debo is way too early, and I know the hype machine has already started on that. And even Cole picked up on it. When you're reading headlines from other sensationalists that are trying to grab clicks, it gets you a little bit farther down the road than you probably should be until you hear it from Andy or you see it on film. That's where it actually lines up. So I still think that there's some more proving to be done there, but I do like the way that they can use Sky, and as long as it's creative and puts him in a position to succeed, it should be fine. I really like the stuff that they're doing with McCole as well in the Wildcat, and if he and Sky can work some of that out together, that dual Wildcat could be incredible. I look forward to seeing some of that. Just another wrinkle that I'd like to put into the offense. Let's see. Is next Saturday's game featured live on NFL Network? That was my understanding when I looked at the schedule, Jeremy, but I haven't really looked at it again since it first came out. So I'll check this week and let you guys know later on, probably on the Monday Q&A. So don't miss that. Monday night, 6 p.m. If you guys aren't regulars to the channel, that's when we'll answer it. Dre, it is Jody Fortson as long as he can get back on the field. I understand it is still a minor, quote unquote, injury, but he was in the sleeve again today and didn't practice. I think that's building up, and I think they're being very cautious for it because I do think they expect him to play a lot of reps this season. Mike, thank you for the support, buddy. I will definitely have a beer. Thank you for getting that for me, and thank you for all you do in being here from halfway around the world. I hope it's nice up there this time of year. I have a trip to Norway in my future in the next couple of years, so hopefully we might even be able to connect at that point, Mike. But thank you. I appreciate your support. Dre, I'm very happy about OBJ is back. Is everyone still kind of had a bad taste in their mouth about him? I'm excited he's back. I agree. The business side is one thing. You got to put that aside. He seems very comfortable and very cognizant of, I want to be here. I want to spend my career here. And I went out and did the things I needed to do to make that happen. That's what I'm really pleased at, is it looks like for the first time since pre-draft, he identified what he needed to do in training and he went and did it. And that was something I was concerned about coming out in his draft because he did not prepare for the combine or for the draft process very well. And when you get to the free agency portion, when you're trying to play for a contract, that's really the next big step that is very similar to the draft process because you have to up your game. You have to do all the little things that maybe you haven't been able to do in order to get that done. And so I do like that. That looks like he took it very seriously. Bernard, Ross is on IR. You will not see him on the field this year. Joseph, I have not much on either Kano or Herring. With Carlos here now as well, and Mike Dana looking very good in camp, it is a long shot for those guys. I think one of them will definitely be on the roster. I don't know if both of them will be on the roster. And that's okay. They are both practice squad eligible. You should be able to get them there. Oh, and Steven was at camp. Powell's running with the threes, and he still didn't look good. At least 2 drops, causing a turnover. Yeah, he had one really good day, and he's kind of fell back to his normal. It's still a very long shot that he could make the roster. Pacheco getting some run with the ones. They're really doing the same thing with him, trying to get as many exposures to see how he runs. Andy talked about him a little bit today. I do think he's on the roster at this point because he's going to be the kick returner. I think it's pretty clear there. How often he gets in the backfield, that's going to be a different question. I do think it is going to be Clyde and Rojo as a 1-2, but Isaiah might be able to be the guy that comes in and spells them and gives them a lift because of his explosiveness. And he does run hard, much like Rojo does. The problem was I thought Rojo was not going to improve in the passing game as much, which Isaiah is good at as well. But Rojo's actually upped that part of his game, and that's keeping him out front, at least in the thought right now, from what I hear inside the Chiefs organization. Let's see. Yep, I'm excited about that as well. Awesome, Mike. Glad. And yes, from what I understand, Stephen, and you're confirming that today that Noah looked good. I've been hearing that as well, is that Noah's upped his game as well. And so I really do feel in the passing game in particular, it is Travis and Jody and then Noah. They'll keep Blake Bell on the roster is my thought because of the little things for the blocking work, for the sneak work, and as an emergency guy who knows the offense. If it gets tight, if it gets down to like decision-making time, I think Blake Bell is the fourth tight end, like in terms of who you have to keep. The team may not agree with that. I haven't heard anything specific, Adam, on Colin Saunders, other than the whole defensive tackle unit looks like Joe Cullen's tutelage is helping. Turk Wharton's looked dramatically better. Stallworth missed today, so Colin should have gotten more reps. I don't know that for certain, but he should have. I'm looking for follow-up on that, and I'll probably have that for you tomorrow or on the Monday night Q&A. Donovan, Kennard is running solidly with the twos. He is the backup right tackle. I don't see that changing at this point. They have peppered in a few left tackle spots, but I don't think he's truly a consideration for a swing. I think that will be Roderick Johnson, and I think they will keep Kennard as well. They will keep two tackles on the 53 as backups is my thought right now, and Wiley is the starter. And that's where we're at today, folks. Thanks. It's a quick one, 15 minutes just to jump in and tell you what's going on. It is a Saturday. As I understand, it was really light attendance today. There'll be more tomorrow. I think their next day off is a couple days out. So if you want to get there and see what's going on for yourself, make sure that you do. Let me know when you get back. Come into the chat or drop me a line at Ryan Tracy NFL on Twitter or in the email address that you guys should all know by now, rgrpodcast@gmail.com. That can certainly just let me know what you think, because eyes on is a significant upside than just watching what the talking heads are or the guys, the beat reporters that are there that are only putting out partial information. And Mo said, maybe Lonnie isn't better than the rookies in the coach's eyes. Sorry, because I know you like him. That could be, or he could be doing something specifically that's wrong. But in terms of, you never are really going to know that until the coaches come out and say it. Until they do, I think his experience and when he has played well in the NFL is already proven. So I think that's the way that it goes. But hey, we'll see. And if I'm wrong, Mo, if they don't like him as much as I do, hey, that's the way it boils down. Thank you, guys. Thanks for jumping on. Appreciate you. And I'll be back tomorrow night with the breakdown show, which will recap whatever practice comes, and then back into the normal week as we always do. Have a good one. Enjoy your Saturday. I'll talk to you later.